Welcome to episode 7. Today we're going to be recapping Week 12's Sunday games and discussing tonight's Monday Night Football game between the Ravens and the Chargers.
Starting off here with the Vikings versus Bears. Really good game, solid OT game. The Bears looked really good. Caleb Williams went 32 for 47, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'm liking what I saw from Cole Kmet, tight end, with 7 receptions, 64 yards. He played a solid game. Keenan Allen looked back in the offense with 9 receptions, 86 yards, and a touchdown. And on the Vikings side of things, Sam Darnold, solid day, 22 for 34, 330 yards, 2 touchdowns. I was really impressed with the Bears' grit during this game. Not a lot of people thought they would go in and win this game, and they forced it to overtime, which was really impressive.
Not the greatest game for Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I know. Justin Jefferson with 2 receptions for 27 yards. Bears defense had him on straps.
You watched that Caleb?
But T.J. Hawkinson stepped up. 7 receptions, 114 yards. No touchdowns, but still, what a solid day.
Justin Jefferson did have a post-game interview, and he said either Justin eats or everybody else eats, and we just saw an all-around Vikings team eat besides Justin Jefferson. He's really a team player.
Equal.
Yeah, moving on over here to the Lions-Colts game, kind of what we expected, a Lions blowout. Didn't put up 40 this week, which is surprising. Seems like they do that every week nowadays. But now they are 10-0 when both Gibbs and Montgomery both scored touchdowns. So that basically means the game plan is simple. You get both your running backs in the end zone, you're going to win the game. I did love from the Colts side, though, getting Pittman involved early, especially, this year, Anthony Richardson and Pittman don't seem to be on the same, don't have great chemistry, I guess. But, I think if they keep involving Pittman, then that offense will get better.
I wouldn't say a blowout.
24-6.
From what I watched,
the Colts kind of stayed. Yeah,
it
just looked like the Colts threw the game away.
Yeah.
Almost at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next up, we have the Dolphins versus the Patriots game. Kind of an expected game, expected turnout. The Dolphins were my comeback team last week, and I think this is just the motivation and the win they needed. 19-point win. They're back to 5-6. One more game gets it back to even. And I think we see a massive turnaround from this Dolphins team.
Yeah. I also think next week is a big game for the Dolphins. Going against the Packers, you're either 5-7 or you're 6-6, and I think that
big
6-6, and that's a big difference.
difference.
That's the difference between playoffs or not. And I think if they want to have a chance in the playoffs, I think they have to win next week.
Yeah, moving on to the Buccaneers-Giants game. Utter blowout, 30-7. I didn't really expect more from the Giants. Danny DeVito's first start. Baker Mayfield looked solid as always. Bucky Irving looked really good. Rashad White looked pretty good. I think Bucky Irving's the RB1 now. At the beginning of the season, people were thinking Rashad White was going to be the solid RB2. Rashad White is now on most people's fantasy benches, and Bucky Irving has kind of stepped into that RB1 role. We need to see some receivers step up for the Buccaneers if they want to create a deep run into the playoffs, as Bucky Irving had the most receptions and the second most yards, with Mike Evans having the most yards. But, we got to see more on the receiver end for the Buccaneers. Going on to the Giants, Tommy DeVito, first start of the year. What more do you want? He couldn't – I don't think he could acclimate right away to the competition. I know he's played in the past, but to come in Week 12 and maybe expect him to win, I just don't see that happening. He had 189 yards. Tyrone Tracy with not a great day. He's been looking really solid this year. He only had 42 yards. Receiving end, nothing really going for the Giants here. Malik Neighbors, who's been their star rookie, 6 receptions for 64 yards. Nothing crazy from the Giants. It was just a blowout.
I think it's safe to say that Bucky Irving is that running back one. They both had 12 carries. Bucky outbeat him by 50 yards, and Bucky had 6 receptions on the day. That was the most receptions by any player on the Buccaneers team. I think it's safe to say that Bucky Irving is the running back one in Tampa Bay.
Moving on to a disappointing game, to say the least. I was in attendance for this Commanders-Cowboys game, and I was up till 4 a.m. last night just shaking. After this game, I couldn't fall asleep. I had nightmares because, you let a previously 3-7 team led by Cooper Rush, who here he's known as a bona fide scrub on this podcast. You made him look like, Drew Brees, Tom Brady out there.
I'm for the pro Cooper Rush bona fide scrub.
I think this is more of the Commanders' defense. I mean, Ben St. Juice on CD Lamb. How do you let that happen? That's a crime in 17 different countries.
Well,
It's just.
I do
it's,
also have to say, you talk about their defense, but the more I watch this Commanders team, the more I think that their offense just isn't there.
Can I say?
And
Yeah.
in the first half, when you have all those turnovers, special teams ifs from the Cowboys, and you have chances to be in plus territory, they get 3 points,
Yeah.
and they're not capitalizing. I think, the more I watched Jaden Daniels over the last few weeks, I think you can definitely see that he is a rookie quarterback, and he's not as good as we think he has.
Let me just say I'm not putting this loss on Jane Daniels at all. I think one those 2 interceptions that he threw, none of them were his fault. I mean, the second one on the Hail Mary, that's whatever. Brian Robinson, I mean, catch the damn ball. That's what you got to do on that screen. But Cliff Kingsbury, so predictable now over the last 3 weeks. So predictable, screens, running the ball on second and long, and then having to throw a screen on third down. That happened, I think, probably 3 or 4 drives. Just terrible from Kingsbury. The offense. I mean, also after that Terry McLaurin touchdown, why are we not going for 2? Austin Seibert already missed an extra point and a field goal in the day.
I have a comment on that because I think the if you go for 2 and don't get it, the not going for it is so much worse than actually getting it. Like that looks so bad on Dan Quinn if he goes for it and doesn't getting it rather than going for it and getting it.
Kicking the extra point was definitely the right decision.
I mean, they're trained to make those kicks.
And you never expect them to miss that. And say you do make that, you have confidence in your team to win the game in overtime.
Can I say kicking is a mental game though? I mean, you already saw he missed an extra point earlier. Missed a field goal,
you just gotta rely. You're paying your kicker millions.
Well, it was also a terrible
snap. You gotta just
it was fixed by Trust Way. That wasn't an excuse. He set himself in.
Someone once asked Russell Wilson, "Did you guys win this game, or did you guys lose this game, or did they win this game?" I think the Commanders just overall lost this game. I don't think it was a win for the Cowboys. I think you just lost it.
The more I look at the Commanders, the past few weeks and their losses, they haven't been getting Terry McLaurin involved. Now, I know that the box sheet
have that one touchdown.
says 100 yards.
Because he had that 85-yard touch.
Like
20 yards.
I love that. I love that.
When he's getting 5 targets a game, 3 targets a game, they're just not winning. Mm-hmm. And you got to get your ball to the playmaker. So I think if the Commanders want to turn it back around and stay in the win column and get back in the win column, I think getting the ball to Terry McLaurin is going to be
We've also seen Noah Brown and Zach Ertz also get 6 receptions that game. I think they were just heavily guarding Terry McLaurin.
Getting the ball to 35-year-old Zach Ertz and then Noah Brown, I don't think that's going to cut it. I don't think that's going to get you deep into the playoffs.
I'm just going to say we saw his receivers were doing him no favors. We saw, I think, 3 drops yesterday, and we saw that fumble by John Bates in the 4th quarter. That was a big play, led to that Cowboys touchdown. So I think it's a bad game for the Commanders, and I'm hoping that they can turn it around. Still at 7-5, still in a playoff position. But they hold their own destiny. If they want to play some good football, they'll make the playoffs. They keep going down this route. It doesn't look great.
Yeah, I think we're dragging it a little bit. It's not a Commanders podcast. So the next game we got Chiefs-Panthers. I think this is what most people expected, actually. Some people might be like, well, I totally thought the Chiefs were going to blow them out. I think everybody in this room thought it was going to be a close game. It was vintage Mahomes right here. I mean, just incredible game from him, including the run at the end. I thought the Cardinals, not the Cardinals, my bad. The Panthers, I thought they played really well. I thought Bryce Young.
We saw DJ Moore reincarnation.
Yeah, we did. And
David Moore?
Yeah, DJ Moore.
Yeah, exactly, reincarnation. I think that's definitely Bryce Young's best game of his career.
100%.
Pressure in his face.
I think if you're a Panthers fan as well, I think the more you've watched in the past few weeks, I think you have to be more excited for next
100%,
season.
100%.
Bryce Young has actually looked a lot better, and he's kind of controlled that turnover issue that he's had in the past.
I mean, there was a few weeks ago people were talking about moving on from Bryce Young. I think it's.
And I think now you look at it, he's 2-1 in the past 3 games.
Now he looks better than Stroud.
Yeah.
He does. I mean, that last drive was just insane. I mean, just every single throw that he made was on point. Dots, as Sean Steve said. All right, next game.
All right, so next we got the Texans and Titans, and I think this game kind of just defines the Texans this year. They're just not able to get over that hump. We've seen C.J. Stroud continue to stay in his sophomore slump, throwing 2 big interceptions. And I think, Nico Collins, they're doing a good job of getting him more involved. But, I mean, when you're a 7-4 team playing against a 3-7 team against the Titans, you're expected to win that game. And when you don't come up with a win, I think that kind of adds to the pressure that the Texans are facing. And I do think at the end of the season they are going to finish at the top of their division. But I think for them to make a run in the playoffs,
I mean, if
they're
there
gonna
was
need
any-
C.J. Stroud to get out of this slump.
If they were in any other division, I don't think they're.
And I
don't
agree.
think they're winning it. They're by far the easiest division, and I think that's just a matter of luck for them. Next up, we have the Broncos versus Raiders game. Not the greatest game we've seen from Bo Nix in his career. Personally, watching the game, I don't think it was a great performance by the Broncos at all. The Raiders were probably playing the best football they played all season.
I would say week 2 against the Ravens or week 1 against the Chargers.
They looked decent. They looked like a pretty middle of the pack team, but I mean, just a overall decent win for the Broncos. Nothing too crazy. Dimitri Vele, by the way, rookie out of Utah, just been Bo Nix's number one target if you were really watching the game, and he's really stepped up. Cortland Sutton hasn't been getting much targets, and he's just really stepped into that position, and I'm really excited to see what comes in the future.
To be fair, it was a divisional game, so like of course it's gonna be close, and Max Crosby just like
Oh my God! Watch,
Top
he is
3 player.
so good. I mean, no glaze. Actually, I'll glaze. He is so dominant and so good. I mean, I don't
every
even
play.
every play every play he's on pressure. Every play he's to the ball. I mean, it's pretty remarkable to watch him.
And I mean, next game here we have the Packers and 49ers, and this was the Packers game throughout the whole game. Jordan Love looked great. Christian Watson did drop a 80-yard bomb at the end of the half, which would have padded the stats. But you look at this game; it was really Josh Jacobs' game the entire way.
Career
3
game.
touchdowns, 4 yards per carry. Some could say that the Packers blew him out just because they didn't have Purdy and Bosa. But I mean, Kyle Shanahan's a great coach, and he dialed up the right play calls. But when the Packers force an interception, force 2 fumbles, I think this defense is looking really strong. And I think with Jordan Love getting support from this run game, I think they're just only going to keep getting better and better.
Yeah, can I just add real quick? With Jacobs, he's on my fantasy team, just personally carrying this team right now. And I think he's a top 3 running back in this league. Honestly, I mean, after that 3 touchdown performance last night, loved it. Loved what I saw from him.
All right, next game, Cardinals Seahawks. Worst game we've seen from the Cardinals since the Packers loss that they had, blowout loss. Here, I think they just beat themselves. I think was it a pick 6?
It was.
Yeah.
That was-
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant, number 8. I think they just they beat themselves here. Seahawks didn't even look that good. But yeah, this big divisional game, and I think it had big implications on how that division is gonna go.
I just want to go back to the 49ers Packers game real quick. Christian McCaffrey, 2-3 games back, we just haven't seen the old Christian McCaffrey.
Well, I think part of that is also the 49ers aren't getting him involved.
I agree. He's been that dump off guy his whole career. Just a little screen and let him run the ball and let him see what he can do. And they haven't been doing that. Brandon Allen just wasn't getting the ball like he needed to, and I just think it was Christian McCaffrey needs to be more used in that offense.
And then I think going back to the Seahawks game, I think if you're a Cardinals fan, you shouldn't panic. I think this is going to be the Cardinals division by the end of the year. I think, the Rams' big loss last night was definitely crucial for them, and I think 49ers losing was also huge for them, kind of taking them out of the playoff race. And I think it's going to come down to the Seahawks and Cardinals, and I do think the Cardinals are going to take it the season.
Now we can move on to the Sunday night football game between the Eagles and the Rams. I think we briefly touched on this, but Saquon Barkley with the dominant night. 26 carries for 255 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also added on 47 reception yards. I mean, overall 305 yards. I mean, that's just outstanding. We're just seeing. Saquon Barkley's looking in his prime right now.
And I think after this game, I think there's a debate that he might be the MVP.
Yeah.
He's great, and it just proves that the Giants were just dragging his career into the mud, and that now that he's on a good, successful team with an O-line, we're really seeing what he can truly do. But also going on this game on terms of stats side, Puka Nacua has been looking great ever since he got back in the lineup. He had 9 receptions for 117 yards. He's been putting up fantasy points and receptions left and right, and he's just looking like a really, really solid wide receiver. And dare I say, he's that wide receiver 1 for the Los Angeles Rams, would you consider him over Cooper Cup?
Yeah.
For sure.
I
I feel like
don't
it's been
think
like
it's
that for like a good year now, 2 years.
I mean, just due to injuries, Cooper Cup just hasn't been his 2019 self. That career.
2021. 2021.
Yeah,
Ah,
2021.
my bad. It was all time year for any receiver ever, and I just think Nakua stepped up when Cup hasn't, and he's shown why he should be that receiver.
Are these Rams receivers really that good, or do you think it's just the scheme that they're in? I mean,
I think they're definitely the top duo
yeah,
receivers in the league. I don't think it's just a scheme, and I think if you're looking at from this game for the Eagles, I think this is great. You know, the Rams are a great team. You know, Matthew Stafford's been playing good ball, and they have a really strong offense. And for them to come in there and win 37-20, I think there is some debate that the Eagles could be, you know, great contenders, and I think it's going to be them and the Lions, the NFC.
I think the Eagles are the second best team in this league. I don't know if you. I think it's the Lions and then the Eagles and then the Bills.
I think
I
so
think
too.
they're easily top 3, top 2.
I
in my
mean,
opinion.
you still have the Bills. You know, it's obviously, you know, Bills at a bye this week, so it's kind of hard to, you know, keep them in the
Yeah.
conversation. So
Career day from Kenny Pickett, 2 carries for -2 yards. Just absolute fantastic day from Kenny Pickett. Maybe Hall of Fame career day. Just can't wait to see what comes out of him next week. Just big things coming in.
Can I? Yeah, I mean, it was I would say a surprising week of a surprising Sunday, but a good Monday night game. I
Great
think I'll
Monday.
turn over to Joe over here, the Chargers fan, but
yeah.
I think he knows my opinion on this game.
So I think we touched on this on Friday, I believe, and I think almost everybody said that the Ravens were going to win. I even said the Ravens were going to win, but I heard from these people to my left and right that we're going to get blown out. I just don't agree with. I know Ollie said that the Chargers are going to keep it close.
I think they will.
And I just think the Ravens, they're not frauds, of course, but I don't think they're as good as people make them seem. You know, their defense is not good. Their offense is inconsistent, and like what they do is they like beat themselves, and you can't do that against the Chargers, who never turn over the ball. Like we don't like the offense never turns it over, so you got to be good on your offensive side of the ball, not turning it over, because then you give chance like short fields for the Chargers, and I think that's where we capitalize. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I think this game is. I mean, this is a huge game for the Chargers and a huge game for the rest of the NFL because this is the Chargers' like first real test,
yeah,
and we're really gonna be able to see where they compare and how Jim Harbaugh has led their team.
yeah.
the Chargers, in my opinion, it's not even close. The most overrated team in the National Football League.
Other than your Commanders, of course,
But I think the Commanders. I think people realize that the Commanders aren't as good now, so I don't think they're as overrated. But I mean, the Chargers have beat the Raiders, the Panthers, the Saints, the Browns, Titans, and Bengals.
So you didn't say the
Do-
Broncos? Are we just gonna leave that out?
Raiders, Panthers, Broncos. Sorry, Browns, Titans, Saints, Bengals. Do any of those teams jump out to you?
Broncos.
But I mean,
No,
can you
no,
control
no.
the schedule? At least they're winning ball games.
Yes, but they've lost to the good teams they played. They lost to the Steelers. They lost to the Chiefs. They lost to the Cardinals, who I think are a pretty decent team.
Well, did you look at the context for those games? You know, the Chiefs game, we were with Herbert was on
I
an
know,
ankle
Herb.
sprain. No one thought he was even going to play till game day.
Yeah,
Rashawn Slater was out. Our
You win-
left tackle,
That's what I
our
think-
guy, our
I
right
think this
tackle.
game is huge. You know, you finally have a healthy Chargers team.
Joe Alt was also out, so our whole O line was out, and then Derwin James was also out, and Joey Bosa was also out, and then our DBs got hurt.
I think the reason why we've seen this
It's going to be a blowout.
Ravens team be so dominant is because their rush offense, with Lamar Jackson being the best rush quarterback in the league, if not one of the best ever. But the Chargers are top 7 in in yards per carry and touchdowns, leading the league with the least amount of rushing touchdowns in the league, which is a very important stat for this against this Ravens offense. If we see this rush game go for the Ravens, I think it's a clear win for the Ravens. But if the Chargers can get on top of it, stay on top of it, I think a very close game coming.
I don't think they passed the ball that much. The Ravens. I mean, we could see the Ravens get away from their identity, but they usually don't do that against teams. Unless it's against like the Steelers or the Chiefs, they don't really go away from their identity. So
Okay.
I think that's actually going to be opposite. I think if the Chargers can control the game by running the ball and keeping Lamar off the field, I think the Chargers are going to have an easy time winning this game.
Let's go
Yeah.
through the score predictions, right, Sean? Is that what you were going to say, or you got something
Yeah,
else?
no. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I think my score prediction is, contrary to what Joe said, I'm not the one who's bashing the Chargers here. I think the Chargers are a legit football team. And I think the Harbaugh brothers are going to have a good laugh about this at the Thanksgiving dinner table, talking about this game right here. So I think that the Ravens are going to win 27-23.
So you're taking the under 50.5.
I am. That's not betting advice.
All right. For me, on Friday I said Ravens 27-24 after the Chargers go out to an early lead. I'm changing that pick, man. The Chargers are winning this game 26-24. I think Harbaugh has something planned.
Delusional.
Jim Harbaugh, of course. He hasn't beaten his brother yet. I think he's going to want to. Jim Harbaugh's the dominant brother. He's the alpha. Don't even say he isn't. He almost drowned John Harbaugh once, so I think Chargers going to win. So
Personally, I met John.
No, you met Jim.
I met Jim. My bad. We both met Jim. Great guy. Great guy. Very friendly guy. I met him in a sushi bar at Michigan, and you met him hotel in LA. Very nice guy, but I don't think he's coaching ability is like his brothers. This game is at 50.5. They both have it literally under at 50. I'm gonna be taking the over at. I'm gonna be taking the Ravens 34-27. I think the Ravens cover, and we see the over for the game.
That's a good game.
Okay, the Chargers are an all right football team at best in this National Football League. I mean,
I think they're better than your team.
100%.
I didn't mention. I haven't mentioned
100%. I think the Chargers beat the Commanders any game.
That doesn't change my take whatsoever.
But I just want to reiterate that the Chargers are definitely 100% better.
Am I talking about the Commanders here? No, I'm not. Didn't mention them. Chargers getting absolutely blown out, 42-21. Smash it. Lamar Jackson, 6 touchdowns.
Six
Yeah.
touchdowns.
Six touchdowns.
touchdowns. Let me give you my situation. I'm currently out of the fantasy playoffs, but
6 total touchdowns.
I need a
rushing
win. I need a win this week. I'm down 53.5 points, and I have Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. Do you think I win that game?
I'd say Lamar puts up 41 fantasy points. Derrick Henry does enough at 18 to win that game.
Yeah, thank you.
Well,
I like
I'm going
that.
to disagree with you there. I think the Chargers are actually going to take this game. Surprisingly, I think the Chargers win on a late game field goal. I think they're going to end up going 31-28. I got the Chargers winning.
Wait, now I think we just move on to our very popular segment.
Yeah.
Polk's picks here for his picks of the day.
All right, this is time it is. Time for Polk's picks. So first we have King Henry, 0.5 receptions. I mean, he's hit this 4 out of the last 5 games, 5 out of the last 7. I can see a very possible just dump out pass from Lamar Jackson to Derrick Henry, easily smashing that line. Derrick Henry, anytime touchdown, he's hit that every single game this year. I mean, it's basically a lock at this point. J.K. Dobbins, 2.5 receptions. There's only been 3 games all year where he hasn't hit this line. I think we could very well see it today. They're going to have to pass the ball to keep up with the Ravens. And it's also his homecoming game, his redemption game, so I think he has something to prove here. Zay Flowers, 58.5 receiving yards. I mean, he's had multiple games where he's had over 100 yards. I could see a drive where it gets 4 to 5 targets, and he just hits this line on that drive alone. There's $100 to win $705. But today we have a little bit of a bonus segment from our friend Ian Herr.
I mean, it's a primetime game. Lamar likes to look for his favorite targets. Mark Andrews, his favorite target. He's getting a touchdown. It's a lock. Sponsored by Fliff Special. J.K. Dobbins, Derrick Henry, over 200 rushing yards, plus 550. Great line. Derrick Henry's going to go 150-ish. J.K. Dobbins is going to go 70-ish. I mean, smashing the over. It's like, I love Fliff.
Hey, to end this episode off, I mean, I really only got a few things to say. Ravens Nation, Flock Nation, I'm with you here. Big Truz, 42-41. Lamar 6 touchdowns.
Big trust. Big trust.
One thing to say, I like all the picks, but there's only one king, and he goes to this school, so I'm not going to say who, but if you know, you know.
Cut that out. That is out.
Yeah, we'll see you later.